HDFS architecture. So HDFS is a file system which enables you to store data, retrieve data. So now we are going to see which all daemons actually, which all Linux or Unix processes, background processes enable this entire process. So let's say we have this master machine, and here we have, let's say, worker machine. These are my worker machines. These worker machines, they send heartbeat to master. So basically what happens, there is a daemon running. So this daemon is actually a JVM daemon. So you can say this is a daemon running here, and here also daemon running, daemon running. These are JVMs. Yeah, so this daemon is called data node. So this is called data node, and again this is also data node, data node, and data node, and this stores the data, actual data, actual data. That means, that is, we also call blocks. So this data node stores data, and that is blocks, and here this is a daemon which is called name node, and this daemon is actually storing the metadata. So what is metadata in case of file system? So we have this metadata, and metadata example is file name, file permissions, location in HDFS, etc. So these are all examples of metadata. So master, this is master machine, and these are worker machines. These are all worker machines. So this entire process is actually communicating with each other like this. So you can see there is a heartbeat going from worker to master, and this is going at a regular interval, through which we will get to know whether a particular worker is up or not. The master will get to know whether a particular worker is up or not. So this is heartbeat. Along with heartbeat, there is another thing which is going, which is called block report. But block report is going at a different rate, like it is not going at the same rate which heartbeat is going. So but anyhow, it is also sending this information, block report. So this block report is being sent with each heartbeat, like not with each heartbeat, but heartbeat is separate, but block report is separate. So when data node restarts, then it will send the block report. So like that, so we will see the block report has this information, like which all blocks are stored, which data I am storing, right? So this information is going to the master. Now this, let's say, client says store my data. So client is saying store my data, and it goes to the master, and then what it will do, master will check the permissions. If client is okay, like authenticated, and okay, so client is fine, like there is no problem with regards to the authentication. So it's all done through maybe Kerberos you can use, and you can authenticate. So client is fine. So when client is actually authentic, so you have to store the data. So master is already having this information, like which machine stores what. So master will inform client to store data directly on the worker machines. Yeah, by giving the details, like you can store data on this particular machine, let's say machine A, machine B, machine C. This is machine A, let's say the machine A. This is machine B, machine C, machine D. So these are different machines. So it will tell the client that these are the machines on which you can store your blocks. This is step number one. Step number one is to contact this. Step number two is to let client know that where you can store the data, and then client will directly store data on the machines. Yeah, so client will store data directly on the machines where master has given the details, so it will just directly go there. Step number 2 is to store data. Step number 2 is to store data, and then once data is stored, then you can basically get to know like data is stored. Okay, now it's time to like consider that file has been persisted. So the blocks are actually stored on these machines. So let's say my data is having two blocks. Let's say having two blocks, B1 and B2. So these two blocks will be stored on the cluster on these machines. So let's say block 1 is stored here and block 2 is stored here. So this is divide and conquer, right? So even if you have large data sets, lot of data, then also no problem. So block, what is block? Block is unit of data, and it determines degree of parallelism. Degree of parallelism. So this is something like which tells you like how much data we can read or write in one go. How much data we can read or write in one go. That is basically a block. So if you have larger block size, then you will be able to read more data. If you have smaller block size, you will be able to read less data. So if you have by default, let's say block size is 128 MB, it's all configurable. So 128 MB block size, you can just use and store 128 MB data together. So let's say the file size was 200 MB. So the file size was 200 MB. The block 1 will be 128 MB, and what is left now? It is like 72 MB. So block 2 will be 72 MB. So last block in the file may be of lesser size than the standard block size. So that's how HDFS divides file into various blocks. Now if you are doing sequential access in HDFS, you might be familiar, we also discussed like HDFS features, and HDFS we can do sequential access. If you do sequential access, then you are able to read lot of data together. So having large block sizes are very helpful in case of sequential access. So HDFS gives you very good performance in case of sequential access because it has larger block size, that means 128 MB. On the other hand, if you see HBase is Hadoop database, it will give you very good performance with regards to random read, random write, because the block sizes are in KBs. They are like 8 KB, 16 KB, but they are not in MBs. So depending on your use case, you will choose a technology, but understand this thing like block sizes, they matter a lot. If you have large block size, then specific set of use cases can be dealt with, and if you have smaller block size, then you have another set of use cases that can be addressed. Now, example of use cases, you can say log file analysis you are doing, you are scanning data from beginning to end, then that means like you are basically reading the entire file. If you are reading the entire file, you have to like larger block sizes. So HBase was used in Facebook Messenger in 2010, and there we had to do random read, random write, because that was smaller block size, right? So because the amount of data that we are retrieving, chat history is also small, and the messages that we are sending is also small. So that HBase is a good example for random read, random write. It's like a database kind of use case, and this one is file system kind of use case. So hope this makes sense. Now whatever blocks we are storing on HDFS, they are replicated. Yeah, so it depends on Hadoop 2 versus Hadoop 3. So Hadoop 2 replication factor is 3. In Hadoop 3, the concept of replication is based on erasure encoding, and erasure encoding will occupy space not more than 50% of the actual data. So that was a problem with Hadoop 2. Hadoop 2 was wasting a lot of space. It was consuming more than 200%. Like default replication factor is 3 in Hadoop 2. And because of that, let's say I'm storing 200 MB, then actually the data will be stored as 600 MB because the replication factor in Hadoop 2 was 3. Yeah, so 200 MB multiplied by 3 is 600 MB. So it is like more than 200% wastage of space. But in Hadoop 3, this has been optimized. the way replication works is related to the erasure encoding, and you get the same kind of fault tolerance. Even if machines are going down, you are able to recover it with much less storage space. So in case of Hadoop 3, the overhead is like uh, not more than 50%, right? So that means like the 50% of 200 is 100. So the overall total space that will be consumed on the file system would be 300 MB in Hadoop 3 rather than 600 MB. So huge difference in the size of the data that is being stored. So this is important thing, like erasure encoding is one of the key concepts, and it is based on RAID architectures are also based on erasure encoding. This is a very common concept in storage systems. So hope this makes sense, like how HDFS is working. Workers are sending heartbeat to master, and these are all daemons running, all processes running, and we have worker daemon, we have master daemon, we have name node, data node storing data primarily, and name node storing metadata. All these interfaces that I am mentioning here, they have their own user interfaces. So you can go to their UI, user interface, and see like how they look like.